Couldn't find where I laid my headset.
Is it gonna be you and me, or just me, or what?
Gary! Oh no, he's got a crowd, look.
Got a what?
He's got a crowd.
Oh, crowd, I think it's a crab. You hear it, Gary? I guess it's not new yet. Oh,
The way the sun is shining in the window and hitting me, I look like a force ghost.
Ooh,
oh.
I wish. I could use one of those right now.
Boy, everyone's energetic today, excited to learn about teams.
Jerry, we are excited to learn about teams. Look, the crowd is coming in.
They're pouring in droves. Look at them coming.
Nathan brought snacks. This is great.
Oh, thank you.
I'm actually ready to learn what terrifying things Teams has developed in the last 48 hours.
Right?
Jerry told us something about Teams last week, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. He's going to talk about it.
I heard this too, and I can't even remember what it was, but it was terrible.
Trust me, you want to forget.
I think maybe I did. I blocked it.
I actually did discover something yesterday
Oh.
I hadn't noticed before.
Every night.
I know what it was.
It was the transcribing.
I was like, oh.
No.
Here's your meeting notes. That's like the HR lady's legitimate worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has to be on real good behavior.
Well, there's no way for it to denote sarcasm.
Most sarcastic bunch ever. Like, Greg's gonna be in trouble every day if those meeting notes go out.
No, then what if it gets it like slightly wrong? You know, it's like that could really be like a Three's Company episode.
Gosh.
Yeah, they should remake Three's Company.
But how many new methods of communication and rejection there are now?
It would just be somebody on their computer or on their phone all day going through Tinder.
Right? Still watch it. I know. I love that show.
So when I was little.
Same.
I'll have to pull up the picture, but do you know what the show is? It's an old time. It was probably old for
my
us
era.
too.
No, it was on like
It was current though when you were there?
1976. Yeah, 78. Yeah, Three's Company was on in the 70s.
I feel like I watched it.
It was definitely the 70s.
90s maybe. Anyway, a friend, myself and two friends were Janet, Chrissy. I was Chrissy, she was Janet, and then we had Jack. I mean, it was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, see, and when I was little, my mom named me Chrissy. So I was Chrissy.
You were
Oh,
Chrissy,
okay.
yeah.
My family still calls me Chrissy.
Let's see if I can find that.
But then Chrissy left, remember? Because Suzanne Summers got famous and then so she quit and they brought in some other lady.
It was never the same.
Mm-mm.
Never the same in my opinion.
No.
Probably Terry,
Cin-
right?
Cindy was
Oh,
the first
Terry,
replacement.
yeah. See, Greg remembers.
Cindy was the first replacement. That was Chrissy's cousin. She was on like a year or two, and then Terry came on.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Terry.
Old Terry.
It's Three's Company.
Three's Company.
Old-
Okay.
Ask your parents.
You don't want to watch it. It's not worth going to TV land to watch.
Do they still play it on TV land? No.
Mrs. Roper was a fashion
I
icon.
was just about to say,
Of
like,
course you can.
Moo-moo.
my old lady dressing.
Why is this
Yeah.
chair so tall?
Just
There we
amazing
go.
captain.
Yes, and Jules.
Yes.
What are you finding?
When
Don't
I
forget the
dressed
Regal
up.
Beagle.
Did you know
The
Three's
Regal
Company
Beagle.
the
I
show?
know, I'm telling you.
Three's Company the show?
Yeah,
Okay, well, some people don't.
right, because they're babies.
People, some people who will not be named.
But we dressed up as.
Did you not know what Three's Company was?
Caitlin, she didn't know either.
Did you know what Three's Company was? Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Well, so Phil was talking about his project, something about Collins, blah, 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 and I almost made a joke about Phil Collins in the meeting yesterday. I told Greg, and I'm like, but I was afraid that the audience was too young and they wouldn't get it.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't. Have you seen him lately?
No.
Collins.
Oh, yeah, he looks pretty bad.
They just sit him on stage and he just sits there and.
It's old.
Yeah.
He's that old. What is he,
Terry, are
70?
you
I
crying?
think he's in his seventies, maybe early eighties.
Does look like
Oh,
he's
is he
crying.
just early 80s?
Terry, do you need a hug, buddy?
Am I
Dress up as
crying?
Chrissy.
Yeah.
Obviously. Are
I
you
mean,
showing me the
Teams
picture?
is terrible, but you don't have to cry.
Oh, my eye is watering. Didn't even realize it.
Nice.
Lingering stuff from Bell's palsy that never went away.
Boo.
No.
No, he's
I'm
actually my
so-
parents' age. He's 74.
Wow. He looks old for 74.
Yeah, he's not doing good.
Though, I mean.
The life of a rock star is, I mean,
Even Phil Collins.
yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Even the most mundane of them.
right.
You don't come back from tour with all the bracelets that you left with.
No.
No.
That's not how it works.
All right, Jerry, we got a good crowd here. I think whenever you're ready.
All right, cool. I'm gonna share my screen and get started. Give me 1 second here. Oops, I shared the wrong screen. I knew I was gonna do that.
Aw.
I knew I was gonna do that. All right. Now you should see the presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So-
I just started at my desk. Okay.
All right, so here was kind of my plan for today. I have a prepared presentation that I can send out afterwards and all of that stuff. It just goes through it. I just pulled out some like big highlights of teams or some things that's changed over the past year or so that I think is helpful. I'm going to try and go through this in about 20-25 minutes. And then after that, I'm just going to kind of hang around for however long everybody wants to hang around. And if you have a question, you want something clarified, you want an explanation of something I didn't touch on, it just becomes an ask me anything at that point. So that way we can do kind of full coverage of things. All right, so the whys, why do we need to go to teams, blah, 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 effective collaboration, communication, accessibility, integrated tools, blah, blah, blah. You've all heard all that stuff before. This one's for me, it has a big future. Microsoft has shown that they're really committed to Teams being kind of the interface for everything one day in the future. And I really think that's where we're going to go. So the more we can begin to integrate it, we start to get used to it. We start to get used to the features. We start to get used to how to navigate it. And then when that day comes and Microsoft kind of pulls the plug, we're not scrambling, wondering what the heck to do. You know, we've kind of already leaned into it a little bit. So it really is a future thinking thing as well. I just listed here some of the things that Microsoft is saying they're working on. Definitely going into AI, we're going to talk about that. There's all kinds of different things. They're going to integrate more with Word and all the other Office 365 apps. And of course, their main focus is on hybrid work, which is our environment. So those improvements can only help us in the future. So let's start with Teams, channels, and chats. It's kind of the basic functions of Teams. So what are the differences? So a team is a group of people organized around a common goal or project, serves as the overarching structure where members can collaborate, share files, and communicate. So basically what we're talking about is the training, the blue group, the orange group, the SMBH, those are teams. Channel are subsections within a team designed to organize conversations around content. So if you want to make an analogy to the server, a team is like the network drive, and then a channel is like subfolders within the network drive. And then inside channels, there are actually tabs, which are like subfolders of subfolders. That's kind of how Teams is structured if you want to think about it in those terms. And of course, we've used chat. It's for direct messaging. It's very easy to do direct messaging internally, and they've made it a lot easier to do external now. There used to be a system you would have to go through to link to somebody. Now you don't have to do that. If you have their email address and it's registered to Teams, you can chat directly to them, just like in Office people. All right, so we're just going to go through the basics. So there's two different ways you could access Teams. There's a combined mode. So if you're in the combined mode, you would click on the chat menu on the left, and then there's filters at the top. So you see channels and chats, you would have to click on which one you want to see. If you want to see your channels, which is tied to the Teams, or if you want to see the chats. Then there is separate mode where it pulls chats and Teams separate from each other. So it's just a setting. If you want to change it, click the three dots at the top. Select settings, click on chats and channels, and choose which option you prefer. I like having them separate. It's just a little faster to navigate it, in my opinion. But it's totally up to you what you would like. So what teams do we have? So basically, what we have is SMBH. With the new network reorg, we're going to be using that a lot more. It's going to be for all things general and fun. General information that we need to reference, the fun stuff we try to have and do, like sharing vacation photos or family photos, all that kind of stuff. Then of course we have the training team and training channels, which we have already rolled out. You're probably used to seeing your group teams. We have like one for each group. And then a lot for job roles. So we have a BIM, we have an engineers. There's some other ones for different job roles as well. And that's the specialty teams. There's too many to mention. There's probably like 15 to 20 different ones being used for something or another. And of course, if you're not invited to that team, you don't actually see it. There is a new team called Projects, but unfortunately, we need to rethink this a little bit. I discovered a limitation that I didn't expect. So we need to rethink that, but that still wants to be the location for project level discussions with the whole team. I just need to rethink the process a little bit, but hopefully I'll be getting that out to everybody soon. So channels, again, we have channels under each team. There are two types of channels. Under each team, there are public channels. So that means all the members of the team can access it. So everybody here, we're all members of the SMBH team. So we all are in the public channels, which is general funsies, project correspondence, tech info, which I'll be populating. And again, the project's another team, sorry. Then there's private channels. So a private channel is kind of like a security setting on a channel where not everybody in the team is automatically in that channel. So you can have sub members of a team. So a good example of this is training. None of it's actually showing up, but the public channels are these four here: the general, the BIMCAD, engineering training, and PM training. But there are several private channels under that that are made for coordinating all these meetings and stuff and sharing information. Not everybody has access to that. You could tell what's public and what's private because a private one will have a little lock next to it, little lock symbol. So that's the difference there if you hear public channel versus private channel. We get a lot of channels we may or may not care to follow. So if you actually want to hide a channel, you can. All you have to do is just click the three dots next to the channel name and select hide. And then it won't appear in the list. If you decide you want to unhide the channel, you have to go down to see all channels and then scroll to that channel that you want to make come back, and then click that show icon on the right, and that'll bring it back. You cannot hide a team. You cannot hide a complete team in the same manner, but if you hide all the channels within the team, it will automatically hide the team. And then if you want to bring back that team and the channels, you just have to turn at least one of those channels back on. Make sense? Okay, guess it does. All right, chats. We already know chat. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it today. If you have questions, just feel free to come to me. I'm always there to answer questions about teams. Okay, so this is everybody's favorite planner. I wanted to get into this a little bit. Because I agree it is confusing. It's very different than anything Microsoft has done. But it is very powerful, and Microsoft is beginning to integrate it more and more. The new Planner app is part of Teams. Automatically, everybody should have it. Right now, Microsoft Outlook has the To-Do Planner app, which is different. This new Planner app has replaced that and made it a lot simpler, in my opinion, to use, and it's actually usable. The new version of Outlook does not show the Planner app yet. It's still showing the To-Do app, but I expect that at some point when they get out of beta, it'll probably be integrated into Outlook as well. So then you'll have a much more seamless join between the two. But let's go into Planner a little bit and talk about what you're going to see. So there's basically three main categories under Planner. You have My Tasks. So this section displays all the tasks that are assigned to you across all the plans. So that just helps you keep, so think about like a task list. You make your personal task list. I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. My Task is everything that's assigned to you out of a plan. And then a plan is all the plans you are a member of. So basically each plan contains a list of tasks. So that way they're just not individual tasks floating around. If we have tasks around a certain project or a certain something you're working on, such as a quarterly meeting, when we put stuff together for a quarterly meeting, there's actually a planner for it, and all tasks associated with getting the quarterly meeting coordinated is under that plan. So just think of a plan as a way to gather like tasks and organize them. So again, My Task is individual tasks. My Plans are the plans you have created personally for yourself or that you are a part of. And then the My Day button actually combines those two. So it looks between plans and tasks and gives you a summary of anything you need to basically address on that day. Note that does not include calendar items right now, which I think is kind of weird. It's only with tasks. So if you have an event on your Outlook calendar, that will not show up on the My Day app and planner. So My Tasks. So what kind of tasks? You see those four kind of filter buttons at the top. That's kind of how Teams is going to filtering things now. So you do have four different kinds of filters for the task. So all will just list every single task, whether it's a private task or it's coming from a shared plan somewhere. Private tasks, those are just the single tasks that you create for yourself. So in other words, you can create tasks that are not associated with a plan. That's what private tasks are. So think of Microsoft, the old task list that was in that's in Outlook. It's kind of the same thing. They're just calling it private tasks here now. Assigned to me is anything that is a task from a plan. So again, when Megan makes this quarterly meeting plans, there's a specific task in there to create the operation slides. She assigns that task to me. That's now on my task list and under that assigned to me filter. And then it has integrated flagged emails. So anything that you have flagged in Outlook you need to follow up on will be listed there and under that filter as well. You can sort these through the column headings, name or what plan they're part of or due dates. And there's also a filter that you see there where you can filter by date, due date, priority, and progress. So it'll basically group all of those together or filter them based on one or the other criteria you've picked. So you do have view options as well. And this is something that I think it confuses a lot of people. It's taken me a really long time to get used to it. There's two different styles. There's a grid view and a board view. Grid view is basically just a list, just like task list was in Outlook. It's just task after task after task after task in an order. That's what grid view is. Board view puts everything in kind of like these cards sort of feature that you can just click on and you'll see all the information related to the task kind of in one, I don't know what you call it, compressed box sort of. It's taken me some time to get used to it, but I do like it. It does come in handy different times. You don't have any columns for sorting, obviously, because they're on the cards. It's not like a spreadsheet list kind of a thing, but there is an extra filter option called grouping. So you can run that and it'll group by the same kind of things that you filtered by in the grid view. And it'll put those cards together in what they call a bucket. Okay, my plan. So there are three kind of plans there. There's a shared plan. So that's one that has been made and shared with multiple people. So it's not necessarily anything you made. It's something that you or anybody else has made and has multiple people assigned to that plan. A personal plan is just plans you have made for yourself, just to combine task lists. If you see over here on the picture on the right, this is a screenshot from my planner. You see monthly and miscellaneous, short-term, long-term. Those are personal plans. So it's still a planner, but then I have subtasks under those. And those are just ones I've made personally for myself. They're not shared with anybody. And then my teams displays any plan that is tied to a team. So you can create a plan that is not tied to a team. You can even share that plan with other people and you don't have to tie it to a team. So a good example of that is our Columbus State project. I have a planner made for that, but it's not actually tied to our Columbus State project team. It's just shared out from my computer, shared out to Nathan and Alex. But that would not be seen if I clicked on my teams because it's not tied to a team. Okay. Little weird, but it is what it is, sort of. Sorting again, if you're in grid view, you can sort by whatever column heading you want. You do have a filter option as well. For these, you can filter out by due date, by priority, and by progress.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, the example that you gave of the one that you sent out from your computer for a project, is that an example of what would be in the projects folder once it's rethought about?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
So here's the kicker with that. That drives me nuts. You cannot tie a plan to a private channel. You can only tie plans to public channels. I think that is ridiculous. There is a workaround, which is actually what I have done on Columbus State, so we can access it through the team, the channel, the general channel on the Columbus State team. But it's a little convoluted, but it does work. But you can not assign it to a team as well and just share it out and it will work fine. That answer the question? Cool. Another tip, there is a pinned option. So that gives you quick access to the plan that you want to interact with the most. If you look down there at the bottom, there's that image next to this engineer project review plan. That's the one where we schedule the EOR reviews, the independent reviews. You can put a pin on that and that will be under your pin section. So you could just click on that at that point and that'll take you right to that plan. So pretty handy way to filter all that stuff out is to utilize the pin function. Because the list will look overwhelming if you look at it. I probably have 100 different plans on my list, but the ones that I interact with the most, I pin them so I can jump in and out of them quickly. We're going to skip the calendar. I think everybody's used to the calendar. They are upgrading the calendar functionality in Microsoft Teams. You may have already seen some of the changes. It's looking a lot more like a standard Outlook calendar now. There is one thing I discovered last night. I don't think is integrated in Outlook yet, but it is integrated in the Teams calendar. If you're making a calendar invite through Teams and you have multiple people invited, there is a boxes that will come out at the bottom that automatically suggest times for you where everybody's available. So you don't have to go to the scheduling assistant and start scrolling and looking for a time. Teams through, I'm assuming it's doing it through AI, is finding the times you're available and all you have to do is just click that time that works. So I thought that was a really, really handy feature they added. Make that a little simpler. So it's
Jerry,
all
does that recognize things on your calendar that are like tentative or free, where you're just blocking off times?
That's a good question. I would assume it would recognize free as being free. I don't know about tentative. I'll have to look into that. I literally discovered that new feature last night, like about 7 o'clock. So I was like, oh, wow, okay. I'm going to mention it today. So I will have to experiment with that or look that up a little bit. But I will do that. That's a good question. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Teams. So it can be really confusing. You can just feel like you're drowning in a lot of stuff. How do you keep it all straight? That's through the activity app. On the left-hand corner of the team screen, you have the activity bell icon. What that does is basically pulls together a summary of all of your activities and notifications across the Teams environment. It's automatically set up in chronological order by default. The 3 buttons at the top there that says unread mentions and tag comments, those are the filters that you have. So if you click unread, it'll only show you things you haven't looked at yet. Mentions will show anything that you're mentioned where somebody does an at Jerry or at whoever. And then there's 3 different types of mentions there that it covers. And then there's a search bar. So you could click on the search bar if you're thinking, oh, what was that message that Alex left me in the Columbus State team somewhere? You can do a search bar and look for his name or whatever it is. Activity does not include chat activity. They're 2 separate things. So the chat has its own filtering and search options, just like activity, but they do not integrate chat into activity other than reactions. Reactions, like if somebody thumbs up or hearts a chat message, that will show up in activity. Okay, notifications. get a lot of questions about notifications. In my opinion, Microsoft has been not very good with that under Teams. Historically, I think they've just had to let it grow a little bit, and it has gotten a lot better, and you have a lot more control over your notifications now. It's still probably not quite the way that we would like to fully control it. They still need to add some more things, but I think it's getting a lot better. I just kind of pulled out some different things to show you about notifications, and you'll just basically have to go through and pick what you want, what you don't want, and customize it to your own preferences. So the first thing I wanted to mention in notification settings is you're changing notifications, you will see something called banner versus activity. So what the banner is when you get a message and you get the pop-up at the bottom of your screen that says, hey, you got a message or you have whatever, that's the banner, is the pop-up on the screen. Activity is your activity feed. So in a lot of notifications, you can say, I want this on both the banner and in my activity feed, or you can tell it, I only want it in my activity feed, or turn it off completely. You do not have an option for only in activity feed. Or I'm sorry, you don't have an option for only banner and not in the activity feed. I don't think anything has that option. So like I said, I pulled out some helpful settings here. So under the display and notifications, that banner pop-up, where do you want it displayed? By default, it's bottom right of your main screen. You can notify where that goes, but it's only limited to the four corners of the screen. So you can't make it bigger. You can't put it right in the middle of the screen or anything like that. It's just one of the four corners. Under display, also, there's an important one we want to make sure everybody does, and that's turn off notifications during calls and meetings. So that's in the notification settings under display. It's a checkbox that I have circled there in that bottom image. Make sure that's off, because it's just distracting during meetings. If you're sharing your screen like I am right now, if I had that on and somebody sent me a message, that would pop up and you would see it right now. So we just want to make sure we turn that off just to avoid distractions and all of that for people. Chats and channels, chat message notifications only in the banner or off. That's kind of a one that's a little bit different from others. You only have that option. You don't have an option to put it into your activity feed. And then mentions can be turned on or off. So you can't say only want mentions in one, only in another. It's just mentions are either on or off. But there is a flyout button next to it that you can pick, and there's different types of mentions, like where things are mentioned, and that will allow you to be able to customize what ones you see. The meetings tab, I don't remember why I put that there because I don't have any sub bullets. So look at the meetings tab and see what's there. Notification for the start of a, oh, that should have been indented. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, so under meetings, you get notification settings for the start of a meeting or what to do with meeting chats. So you can customize that. Meeting chats are basically where you see if you are invited to a Teams meeting and then you get these pop-ups that says so-and-so is under the chat meeting, that's treated just like a chat, but it's associated with meetings. And there's even another filter for those where you can only see meeting chats under your Teams chats. So you have a little bit of control under the notifications what you do with that. Under calendar, you can turn off new invites, updates, and so forth. So if we're doing like a public calendar, for example, and Megan going through and adding birthdays to our public calendar, and you get the notifications popping up, oh, this calendar's been updated, this calendar's been updated, this calendar's been updated. You can turn those updates off, or you can send them to just the activity feed, which is what I do. So that way I'm not getting dinged on calendar updates immediately, but if I'm looking at my activity feed, I do see where things were updated. And then there are a plethora of planner notification options. It's way too many to put on this presentation and to talk about. If you look at the planner heading in Teams, there's another little flyout arrow. If you click that, you will see all the options for your notifications under planner. If you need help looking through those and customization, let me know. We can go through them and figure out what they all do and get it notifying you the way you'd like it to. Any questions?
I have a question, Jerry.
Okay.
Do you know if, like, so the show notifications during calls and meetings is, yeah, that's a good tip. Do you know if, with Outlook, they have something similar? Like if there's something on your calendar, you're not gonna get like an email banner notification pop up? You got an email?
Yeah, good question. I'm not sure.
Hopefully they, you know,
I would
But,
assume
yeah.
so, but never thought about
Lisa's
it.
nodding, yes.
A notification that you got a new email?
yeah, like I've
Yeah.
seen that.
Or like
during
the little preview.
Calls, yeah.
Not being able to turn that off.
There was,
when-
because I turned it off,
Yeah, I
because it
turned
drove
mine
me
off.
bananas, so
I know,
there
I
is.
know, I know you can turn it off completely, but I'm not sure about turning it off during a meeting. It also is very
Oh.
possible that this Teams setting actually overrides that as well. Because there are weird hidden links between Outlook and Teams, such as your out of office notifications. You can set your
Mhm.
out of office notifications in Outlook or in Teams, and it will read the same setting between both programs. So that could actually be overriding it too. I hadn't considered that. I will have to look into that. Anything else? Okay, last thing on my list is Copilot.
Jerry, listen to the Jerry does not care.
What's that?
Did you hear?
Sorry, what I miss?
Sorry. Oh, um.
Sorry, I
I-
didn't hear you.
That was my bad. I've used Planner before, and I thought they did link to Outlook. I mean, I know the to-dos do, but like, I don't.
Yeah, it does through the To-Do app, and the To-Do app is set up
Uh,
differently than the Planner app.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, you can go through it and it has similar functionality. It's just not as concise as what it is on Teams.
I see. Yeah, yeah.
Teams is kind of simplified it. In Outlook, it's a little clunky, in my
Gotcha.
opinion. I even get confused quite a bit when I was trying to use it. It's like, okay, which button do I hit again to see this? And eventually, I just abandoned it. But I
Gotcha.
went back to it now that they've had this new setup of just what they call the Planner app.
Okay. Sweet. Thanks.
Oh,
I'll be louder.
I have a quick question. Could you show what you're doing with the health sciences building with Nathan and Alex and teams? Like, what stuff do you have in the planner for that?
How about I do that after I finish the presentation in the extended? Yeah, because I'm planning on going into Teams and just with whatever questions you guys have, showing you through Teams up. So, all right. Anything else? All right. So I wanted to bring this up, Copilot. So that's been a new addition here in the last few months. We have a basic plan of Copilot that comes with our Office 365 automatically. There is a premium version that will give you more, but it costs extra, and I've not even looked at it to see if it's going to be beneficial to us or not. But I think as just going forward, the basic is probably going to do us do well enough for us going forward for a little while until we get used to AI, till we figure out how we can integrate it into our day-to-day work. There's just some kind of prompts here that Copilot launches with that can help you. So it says you sharpen your writing. So one of the ways I use it is I might compose an email and then I might put it into Copilot and say, hey, check for this and that, check for grammar, check for spelling, or make it sound more professional or make it more concise or something like that. That can go through and do that for you. And then you can just copy the results and send those out. It's got some stuff to monitoring news. This one I thought was kind of funny. Write some funny out of office email responses. If you clicked on that, it gave a whole list of just different funny ones. There was one called without time traveling or something. But what was funny when I did that, I asked Copilot, okay, I like this one. Can you turn it on? And it said it can't do that. So it'll write it for you, but it won't turn it on. So that could be a premium feature. That could be something coming in the future. Who knows? So yeah, a lot of different ways you can use it. Like I said, I've used it for doing emails. One of the thing me and Michelle one day was kind of spitballing what we could use it for, and we came up with if you have to send kind of a email that's not sensitive, it's little, I don't know what the word is, but like you're going back to the client and saying, hey, you screwed this up, or we need more money, or something like that. You can actually give Copilot prompts. I need a professional sounding email. It says this, 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 and this. It'll spit it out for you and you can use it and then make little tweaks to it every now and then. One of the things that I did with Copilot is I used it to create this presentation. I tried to get it to do an entire presentation from scratch for me, and it claimed it was doing it, but it never delivered it. So I must have broke it. But for every topic, what I did was I went into Copilot and say, show me the difference between teams and channels. Give me an explanation of what you can do in the planner app. Give me an explanation of this and that. Even the images that I had in there, like the guy drowning in the paperwork, I said, give me an image of someone sitting at a desk drowning in paperwork, and that's what it spit out. So I was able to use Copilot to my advantage in this presentation. Honestly, obviously I didn't just take exactly what it said. I tweaked it for us, but it was able to give me a good start for every heading. So I just didn't have to kind of come up with it all on my own. So it's definitely a good tool that we can start utilizing. One Copilot warning, we touched on this right at the outset. Christine brought it up. Transcription has come to the basic Copilot plan. Right now, this meeting is being transcribed in addition to recorded. So you can actually go to the meeting invite on the calendar and look at the summary of the meeting, and you will see a transcription all the way down of everything everybody said. Summaries, there are also meeting summaries, but that's on the premium plan. So it will take that transcript and kind of summarize all the main points for you and deliver that out. But again, that's just a premium plan. So the reason I bring that up is to be careful what you say in meetings, particularly with clients. Because you could say something silly like, oh, I don't know what that's doing. You know, and it's obviously it's a joke in the meeting and people hear you and read that, oh, you're just joking. That doesn't come across on a transcription. It's just going to be a line where you're saying you don't know what that is. So just be really, really careful what you say in meetings because it could get picked up. Obviously, we can turn that off for our meetings, but we have no control over what a client does. So just be aware of that. You don't need to record to transcribe, and you don't need to transcribe to record. You can do one or the other. But if you automatically set a meeting to record like this one was, it will start a recording and transcription at the same time. But you can go to that recording button on the screen and you can then turn off transcription if you want.
You're saying that it will not warn you that it is transcribing your meeting.
No, it will. It will come up and say this meeting is being recorded and transcribed.
Oh, okay, just added it. Because I've had a client meeting where, yeah, it'll say, oh, there's an AI thing transcribing.
Yeah.
Like it just started. And
yeah. You've probably all seen that little window at the start of meetings that says this meeting's being recorded when somebody starts recording it. So at the beginning of this one, the little window did come up and say this meeting's been being recorded and transcribed, but it doesn't stay up all the time. So they're probably just making sure they say that so everybody knows what's going on. But like I said, once the recording started, you can stop transcribing, or you can stop recording and start transcribing if you want. One or the other. But just be aware, automatic recording will automatically turn on both. Any questions there?
Sure.
Jerry, I came in a little late, but the previous screen, I forgot even what it's called already because I got Chat GPT in my mind. But is this open source? I mean, what's the database? Where's this database going?
It's
Or
just pulling
from?
off the web. And
Okay.
Microsoft would have its own database of stuff, probably more for just its programs and things. But yeah, all of these AIs, they can just source off the web. But you can narrow it down as well.
Okay, is there anything we need to be careful about what we put into here?
Company data, proprietary.
Yeah, nothing sensitive. So I wouldn't run a contract through it. Or I wouldn't take our database of serial numbers and said, hey, look for mistakes, Copilot. Because now you just put everybody's serial number into a database potentially. So nothing like that.
Because there are some other ones that are your own company, right? Like you can have the bigger companies have their own AI where that's all more secure, right? But this is not that.
Right.
This is just open out there.
This is just open like Chat GPT, yeah.
Okay.
It's just open and out there. So be careful of that. All right, anything else? All right. Well, like I said, I'm going to hang around here for any extended questions you guys might have. Anything you want more clarification on or anything I didn't touch you'd like to know more about, let me know.
I do have one question on you mentioned earlier on about it's now easier for people outside of SMBH to message us on Teams.
Right.
I'm just thinking through what are the implications in terms of saving correspondence. I mean, is there a way to set a separate policy for external chat versus internal as far as deleting stuff and saving stuff?
That is a good question. I don't know. I will look into that. That's a really good question. I didn't think of that. But what you can do, yeah.
They just
You just have to have
Your
Teams.
email.
They just find us.
You can use your
Can
email.
you can message, but can you call someone that's outside of the company now too?
Yes.
And
When did
video.
this happen?
They obviously have to have, I think.
Well, right, but like 2 weeks ago, I mean, I couldn't do anything last week, but 2 weeks ago, I wasn't able to do that. I couldn't just make a phone call or like through Teams.
Receiving company if they.
Oh, I guess that's a good point. Okay.
Yeah.
Their own policies.
Yep, exactly. They could be blocking that kind of stuff, which is possible.
Hey, let's do a Zoom meeting about
So
like-
here's, Scott, for your question, here's an example of what you was talking about.
I can't do it.
This is from a-
Like video call.
There's an example here. This is a chat between me, Nathan, and Alex, and a few of the people at Moody Nolan on the Columbus State. So if they would say something in this chat and we want to keep it, we're like, oh, we need to make a log of that. You can come here to this more options, and there's a forward option that you can do, and you can actually send it to a group or a team or something like that. So I can come in here and say CSCC, it will find it, and I can put it there and forward it, and it will now put that into that project chat. Or you can also convert it to an email if you want. Same thing if you do the forward. No, I'm sorry, it's a separate one. So share to Outlook. That just basically turns it into an email that you can send and then file into SharePoint if you need to.
Is it just one chat message or is it, whole exchange of messages that you can include?
Good question. I don't think you could do the whole channel. Yeah, it is just one chat at a time. But if you have, Good question.
I resorted to screen grab.
I was gonna say, that's what I was saying.
You can do a screen grab too.
Maybe
Yeah,
since
it's
this is,
possible.
if this has changed, then maybe we need to rethink the policy. I mean, as things change, we have to make sure we're doing the right thing. So,
Yeah. Being some way to make
I mean,
sure
if this
we're-
is how you're communicating now instead of email, that's a big change.
And it's not just our preferences too. People from CISO just started messaging me and that's just what they do. And I can't stop them from
That's a
messaging.
great point. No, that's an excellent point. So it's
Yeah, and
probably
that,
something for consideration.
that bothers me, the fact that they can see a green bubble and that
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you can't not answer it. It seems, it's like, it'd be nice if we can somehow,
That is
for external
Yeah.
reasons, not have that bubble show up.
I would think we could do some, there should be a setting for that. Because I can't necessarily see external contacts I have when they're available. It seems grayed out or it's like not
All
available.
the time.
Right, yeah, so I
So
think
it must
it
be a
is.
setting, because I have seen it for.
Some
people from
people,
like CISO,
yeah.
for instance.
But yeah, it's
He's looking it up now.
Yeah, you did ask me to look into that, Greg, and I had never got around to it. I will look at that. I agree with the BG. I'm pretty sure there's got to be something somewhere. I'm just not sure off the top of my head where it is. That work location.
that's Copilot for it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do that, BG. That's beautiful. Can I set my availability differently between in office and external, in org, it should say, and external contacts in Teams? We broke it. There you go. There's how to do it, maybe. President says you can manually set your preference status to indicate your availability. The status will be visible to both internal and external contacts, but you can use the do not disturb feature to block notifications from external contacts while allowing notification from internals. So it looks like right now they do not have a way to have it differently. But I would not be surprised if they don't add that soon. That seems like kind of a no-brainer thing to add.
Hey, Jerry, it might be admin only.
That is possible. I'll have to look into that.
Yes. So like I can say.
I hear whispering. Somebody got a question?
And we're all horrified, Jerry. It's fine.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, when do we all get company ID numbers and chips?
Yeah.
Handed in our neck?
Hey, we would have had some key card access someday or another. We're going to have it. It's not. It's coming eventually. I already need a code to get into my house.
Answer Michelle's question, you were gonna look at something with, the Columbus State
Oh
job.
yeah, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, John. I forgot about that. Let me come in here. So what I have it as right now is under the projects channel. Where'd that go? There we go. As a private team, the limitation I discovered is that a channel can only have 30, or a team can only have 30 private channels. That was a limitation I found. And I don't really want to have it set up to where it's a public channel. So like if you're not working on the job, you would see the job. I want you to only be able to see what ones you're a part of. So I have to rethink that a little bit and come up with a different way to accomplish that doesn't limit me to only 30.
Would that change with premium?
Not that I saw.
Hmm.
It looked like that was just a flat, flat number for Microsoft. I didn't see any separate numbers for premium. So what we have in
That limits the company to 30, or each person to 30?
that limits the team to 30 private channels within it. So
Which is the
SMB,
project team.
yeah, SMBH can
Okay.
have 30 private
Yeah.
channels, projects can have 30, training can have 30. The kicker to that is if you delete it, it still holds that. So if I would come in here and delete this team, that still takes up one of my 30. I don't know why. What is unknown, you can archive a team, and Microsoft has not directly answered yet whether that counts to your 30 limit or not. So nobody actually really knows if archiving plays into that either.
I suspect that deleting it actually just archives it because they probably just never actually delete it, and that's why it still counts.
Exactly. I've done that before where I've made some test teams just to play around with stuff. And then I go back in a month or two later. It's like, oh, I want to test something, make a test channel. Oh, you've already called it, have a team on here called test channel. Even though I deleted it before. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of test 1, test 2, test 3s floating out there probably. So what we have right now, again, I made it under this projects channel. It's a projects team. It's a private channel where only those of us that's working on Columbus State on a day-to-day basis is part of it. So what we have right now is basically just a meeting chat. So here's one Alex sent about cover sheet index and tagged me on it. So it's just a running chat, but then anybody else in here can reply underneath this. So just kind of keeps all that correspondence kind of in this one place. Obviously, you would not want to bring an external contact into this. And I think it's actually, if I remember right, in our admin settings, it actually blocks you from doing that right now. So we couldn't invite in necessarily somebody from outside. At least it was at one time. That could have changed, but we just don't want to do that. We have it blocked. There is this files option here that you can use. This is the only thing I've put up in there now. It was basically just a PDF. I actually attached that PDF to a post in here. Say, hey, what do you think about this layout? So that way everybody saw it at once, but it does keep that also in this files tab. So it's anything you can add to the files tab, or anything that you attach to a post goes into files also. Then this is where, go back one, have this one called schedule that you can click on, and this is where that planner I created shows up. But if you notice, all it did was just take me to the planner and then take me to that shared plan I created. So it actually takes you completely out of the team and back to the shared planner. So that's kind of the only thing we've used it for to this point, but it's mostly just this running chat. But if you click up here in tab, and anybody that's part of the team can do this, you can add all kinds of different apps on here. If you think something would work for you, if you need to sketch something between everybody, there's a whiteboard app you can add. You can come in here and that will be on the tab, and you could just draw stuff and everybody will see it on a tab. What else do we have here? We have a website. So if there's like a client FTP site, we could put that under that website tab and have that as a tab under the team. That's something you could do. All kinds of different things. So you just have to kind of get used to what's there and just see what's going to work for you. You could have a OneNote where you just put project notes in there of different things you need everybody to be aware of. So yeah, just a lot of different things you could do. You just kind of got to decide what you want to do and pick an app to do it. But mostly it's going to be for that project communication. Anything else?
Yeah, I got another one. When you're
Okay.
on a Teams meeting, is there a way to let someone draw on the screen over top of whatever it is being screen shared?
I don't. Yes, if you come up, I
Finish
don't know if
share.
you guys probably can't see the control right now that I'm hovering over. But there is an annotation option. Here, got it. And you do get some pen controls there. So, hey, I want to underline that or highlight it. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I
You popped up.
Hey, look at that. Oh, Lisa.
Hey.
So is that like something you have to enable before you create a Teams invite? I feel like sometimes.
No, it's just part of the meeting options. There could be like you can go into invite and do enhanced options. That could be something you could turn off. I'm honestly not sure.
Well, and it doesn't also just kind of like lock the screen, or like, you know, now it's, if you scroll or go to something else, all those markups are still just on the screen,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah, and you kind of got to escape out of it.
Yeah, I just have a client we work with that refuses to use Teams meetings because they like the annotations on Zoom, but it looks like this is kind of the same thing.
It is, yeah. And that's a recent addition too. They didn't have that for a while. I'm not sure when it came about. A lot of things I don't know when it's coming because they'll put their monthly summary and they'll say more enhancements to Teams meetings. Well, a lot of good that tells me what are your enhancements. It doesn't always tell me, just as there's enhancements, and then I just stumble across things. So yeah, that's another one that's who knows when it came out.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Does Microsoft, moving towards having like storage and stuff through Teams and whatnot? I mean, I know we're somewhat moving things to Teams, but I guess I'm wondering what will be the difference with, you know, emails and SharePoint versus now this kind of.
It all pulls from the same databases.
Okay.
So with everybody here has, I think it's a terabyte of storage, of OneDrive storage automatically with your accounts. The company has a certain amount of storage. I feel like it was 2 terabytes or 5. I don't remember, but we actually pay an extra fee to have a little more because we just need it more for our SharePoint database. But all that is pulling from the same amount of space we have.
I don't really operate in Teams as like a permanent thing, even with project correspondence. Oftentimes it's just like in a chat because mostly I just expect it'll go away eventually, and that's fine. But
yeah, and we still use chat. Me and Alex, for example, we do one-on-one chats all the time. If I just have a question, it's like, hey, what did this markup say?
yeah.
Or what does this markup mean? Nathan and John don't need to be part of that conversation, so I just chat Alex. That's something we need to keep. That can just go away. But if there's a major question or something like that, that's when I go to the chat or the channel rather.
I'm curious, I just saw OneDrive on one of the, side options under planner. Like what would that go to if you went to that?
It just goes to your personal OneDrive.
Okay, yeah.
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 I've been using OneDrive a lot more in the past 6 months than I have been relying on copies of things in the network. A lot of times, if I'm working on something like where I was working on the project process stuff, I put it all in OneDrive, and then I could share that one document out to whoever needed to see it, to edit it or review it or whatever. It's all contained in that one document. People aren't fighting to get into the same file on the network or something like that. Then once it's done, we can save a permanent copy out to the network that we need to keep after that. But while I'm working on it, I put it in OneDrive. This presentation, the same thing. I put it in OneDrive and worked on it. And then it'll get shared out to wherever we're going to keep this for everybody. Questions? All right. Well, if you ever have a question, feel free to reach out to me.
Thanks, Jerry. That was
I'll
great.
ignore you like I did Greg, his question.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yikes. Put that in the
Still
transcription.
doing